The notes open, the highlighter uncapped, the same chapter you read last Tuesday, and the Tuesday before that, because it still doesn't feel solid enough. Because the exam is in 9 days, and the material still feels like it's sitting just outside your grip, familiar when you look at it, gone the moment you look away, so you read it again. You highlight the parts that seem important. You tell yourself that this time it will stick. It won't. Not like this. Not because you're not trying hard enough. You are trying. Not because the material is too difficult. It isn't. Because the method you are using to study is specifically, structurally, mechanically designed to produce the feeling of learning without the reality of it. And every hour you spend inside that method is an hour building confidence you haven't earned, and knowledge you don't yet own. Peter Parker had the proportional strength of a spider the day after the bite. The ability was real. What he didn't have was any honest relationship with how to use it, or how badly he could fail when the moment arrived, and the ability met a situation it hadn't actually been trained for. His first real test didn't go well. Not because he lacked the power, because he had never practiced under the conditions that would count. The way you are studying right now is training you for a test that doesn't exist. Here is the one that does. And the 3 things you need to stop doing before the next exam costs you what this one is about. Passive study feels productive because it is effortful. Rereading takes time. Highlighting requires focus. Watching the lecture again demands attention. Your brain registers the effort and files the session as a success because effort and learning feel identical from the inside, even when they are producing completely different results. The difference is this. Passive study is a conversation between you and material that is already in front of you. The exam is a conversation between you and material that has been taken away. These are not the same conversation. They do not share the same skills. Practicing one does not build the other. Parker's problem in the early days wasn't that he lacked ability. It was that he kept testing his ability in conditions where the safety net was present. He trained in the suit. He trained in the suit. He trained in familiar territory. He trained where he could see the web already attached. The moment the safety net was gone and the situation was real, and the outcome actually mattered, the gap between what he'd practiced and what was required showed up instantly, without warning, in front of everyone. Your exam is that moment. The notes are gone. The highlights don't come with you. The lecture you watched twice is not accessible. Just you, the question, and what you can actually produce under pressure with no support. And if every hour of preparation has been spent in conditions where the support was present, you are training for the wrong room entirely. And what you are about to find out next is why that specific gap is wider than you think. Here is the study method that closes the gap. You will recognize it. You will also recognize why you keep avoiding it. You close everything. Book, notes, phone, laptop. You take a blank page and you write, from memory without looking, everything you know about the topic being tested. Everything. Headers, details, examples, connections. You write until you have nothing left to write. Then you open the material. Not to feel good about what you got right, to find what was missing, wrong, or thin. You study those gaps specifically. You close the material again, you repeat. This is called retrieval practice. It is not a study hack. It is not a technique for people who don't want to work hard. It is the hardest study method available, which is exactly why it works, because it replicates in practice the precise conditions of the exam. Blank page, no support, produce or fail. Stay with this next part, because what I am about to describe is the specific reason your grades don't reflect your effort, and it is not a motivation problem. The gap between how much you studied and how you performed on the last exam is almost entirely explained by this. You practiced recognition, and the exam tested recall. You trained in the presence of the material, and the exam removed the material. You built fluency reading someone else's words, and the exam asked you to produce your own. Parker had to learn this the hard way, under live conditions, with real consequences, in front of people who were counting on him. You still have 9 days. You don't have to learn it the same way he did. A student who switches to retrieval practice 3 weeks before an exam looks, from the outside, like he's studying less. The sessions are shorter. There is no highlighted textbook to show for it. No annotated chapter. No color-coded summary page. Just a stack of blank paper with incomplete attempts on one side and corrected versions on the other. But what he is building inside those sessions is the only thing the exam will ever ask him to demonstrate: the ability to pull correct information from his own memory under pressure without help. The students who get into the exam room and feel settled, not confident exactly, but grounded, present, capable, are almost always the ones who spent their preparation in conditions that resembled the exam. The students who studied harder and still blanked are almost always the ones who spent their preparation in conditions that felt like studying and weren't. Parker became effective the day he stopped training in safe conditions and started putting himself in situations where the outcome was real and the support was gone. That shift, from practicing what was comfortable to practicing what was required, is the only shift that produces a different result in that room. And the assumption you've been carrying since the first minute of this video is about to get corrected. You came into this thinking the problem was how much you were studying, that the fix was more hours, more sessions, more of the same approach applied with greater intensity. More hours of the wrong method is not a solution. It is a larger investment in a strategy that is already failing you. Every additional hour of passive rereading is another hour building false confidence, a cleaner set of notes that will feel thorough right up until the moment the exam removes them and asks you to perform without them. The problem is not the volume of your studying. The problem is the direction of it. You have been studying toward comfort. The exam tests performance. Those are not the same destination, and no amount of additional mileage in the wrong direction will get you to the right one. Stop rereading. Start retrieving. The method that feels like failing is the one that builds the grade. Tonight, pick one topic from the exam, not the hardest one, the one you feel most prepared on, the one you'd be least worried about if it showed up on the paper. Close the notes. Take a blank page. Write everything you know. Give it 12 minutes. Don't look. When you stop, open the material and find the gaps. Don't assess how you feel about the gaps, just map them. Those gaps are your actual study list, not the syllabus, not the lecture slides, the specific things your memory could not produce when asked in the topic you felt most ready for. If that exercise just told you something uncomfortable about how prepared you actually are, good, that discomfort is information. It is the exam telling you what it's going to find before it finds it in front of an examiner with a red pen. Parker needed the lesson to arrive in real time with real stakes. You still have the option of receiving it now in private, while there is still time to close the distance. Studying hard is not the same as studying, right? And the exam doesn't grade your effort. It grades what you can produce when everything you leaned on is gone. One topic, blank page, 12 minutes. Tonight, the grade you want is on the other side of the discomfort you have been avoiding by rereading the same chapter one more time.